Okay, everybody, it is Miss Cornell coming at you for your paint and sip. Yeah, so what we're gonna draw first is we're gonna be doing a cherry blossom branch, by the way. And we're gonna first draw out the branch. So in order to do that, we're gonna draw just kind of like a slightly wiggly line going down the somewhat center of your paper. Let's go off center first. So what I did is I went up a little bit. We're also, our paper's oriented horizontally. I should start with that. Get a pencil. Sorry, this is a little bit more, loose than usual. So just get a paper, have it horizontally, make sure it's that watercolor paper that you got from the paint and sip before. And so again, you're gonna make a somewhat wiggly line. You don't want it to be perfectly stick straight. So you wanna go ahead and you wanna make it look like a branch. And you're gonna have that go down the middle of your paper. Okay, so again, I just drew very lightly, I drew that line. So I'm gonna draw that a little bit darker for you guys so I can make sure you guys can see it, okay? And then what you're gonna do is we're gonna draw 5 circles, about the size of a quarter or about the size of a silver dollar. And we're gonna draw those around the branch that we just drew, okay? These are gonna be our cherry blossoms, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and draw those. So I'm gonna draw one, for example, like right here. Okay, and notice I'm drawing darker than you should be drawing. You should be drawing very, very light. Draw light till you get it right. Okay. So after you've done your placement, make sure they're placed out nicely. You're gonna go ahead and you are going to make 3 open petal flowers, and you're gonna make 3 side view flowers by drawing them with 3 petals. So I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean when I say that. The ones that any of the circles that you drew bigger, you should make those the open petal flowers. So what I mean when I say that is if you see that this one is a bit of a bigger circle, I'm gonna go ahead and make this an open petal flower. So 5 petal flowers. Go ahead and draw 5 petals. Coming to the center, just like that. And if you go ahead and make it mine's a bit uneven, that's actually okay, because it could look like a little bit off center. It could look like maybe it's a different perspective, or you could just fix it like I'm about to do. I'm gonna make them a little bit more even. Okay. Okay, so again, we have an open petal flower. All right, so we have 1 open petal flower. Let's go ahead and find another one, probably this one across the way. We're gonna draw the open petal flower here. If you wanna work with perspective, you could like add a circle or a dot in the middle, and you can work with the circle to make the petals smaller on one side and the petals bigger on one side to make it look like you're working with perspective a little bit. I'm just gonna keep it simple and make them look like they're straight on. So we have our open petal flowers, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you what I mean when I said the side view flowers. We're just gonna go ahead and with the bottom towards the branch, we're gonna go ahead and we're going to do 3 petals. So go ahead and draw 1 petal in the middle, and 1 One petal on the outside. Again, using that circle kind of as a template. So that's what I mean when I say a side petal flower. Okay, a side view flower, sorry. Okay, and we're gonna do the same thing on this side. So we have our flowers good to go. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and kind of draw out some lines to give you an idea of where the branches are gonna be. So let's go ahead and draw that. So like the line that would be the branch for this guy would go here, and the line that would be the branch for this guy, of course, would go here. So again, all of this should be drawn super light. Draw it light so you get it right. Now we're going to draw about 5 branches coming out that have little dots at the end, because these are going to be buds. So go ahead and draw some of these. We're going to draw those coming out of anywhere that kind of looks empty. So like right here, this looks empty. Let's go ahead and draw some buds coming out of here. So I'm going to draw some buds. So a little dot on the end showing that there's going to be buds coming out of there. So I have 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to have maybe some coming out here actually. I'll have 2 coming out here. A bud here and a bud here. Okay? So I'm done with that. Now what you need to do is make sure you have an eraser, because what you're going to do is you're going to erase your circles, and make sure you erase some of the petals a little bit, so you have basically like a ghost, as we call it, a ghost of an image. So go ahead and erase those circles that you made. You definitely don't want any circles, but when you go to erase some of the petals, what I do is I kind of erase in lines, so it's almost like dots are left, so I have a ghost of an image. Time to paint. So make sure you have your thinner paintbrush. So you're going to be working with, again, your beautiful paint that you were working with before. Make sure you have your thin paintbrush from the last time we painted, and of course a cup of water. Also, make sure that the palette on the top of your paints is clean, or if you have a plate, a white plate, preferable, is really good too to work with to mix your colors. We are going to be mixing colors today and thinning them out, so you're going to need to have that space clean so nothing is going to be mixing up and, you know, making a muddy mess. So let's go ahead and do this. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take, I'm going to do this in front of you so you can see, we're going to take a good amount of water on your paintbrush, and we're going to take the red, not the orangey red, make sure you're getting the red, it's the one right next to the very yellow, and you're going to go ahead and mix it up nice and deep, and then put it on your palette so you get a nice pink. And then you're going to add some more water. So just dip your paintbrush in the water and dip it back. Water, dip it back. Okay, So you should have a pretty translucent pink. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead and kind of wipe it off a little bit on the side. And we are going to paint the open petal flowers first. And we're gonna go ahead and just paint the petals. And we're going to work one flower at a time. So again, just paint the petals in. Make sure it's not too watery, because I will tell you why in just a second, and you will see why in just a second. But will ruin the effect that we're trying to get. So again, you want that nice light pink. If it's lighter than that, that's fine too. If it's a little darker than that, that's fine too. Okay, so all painted in. Now what you're gonna do is you're going to take your palette again, you're gonna take a little bit of water on your paintbrush, you're going to dip it in the red, get a good amount of nice red on your paintbrush, the tip of your paintbrush, and put the tip of your paintbrush in the middle of your flower. And it's going to expand out and make that really nice effect, like a cherry blossom flower has. So then we're going to finish the rest of the open blossom flowers, okay? So we're gonna do the same thing. The reason why you don't want it to be too wet is because it will all become one color. It will expand out completely and become one color of red. It won't do this nice ombre thing that it's doing right now. Now we're gonna do the three petaled side view flowers, and it's basically the same thing. So you're gonna do pink, wipe it off, paint those petals. Okay. And then when you're done with that, you're gonna take a little bit of a wet brush, dip it in the red, the tip of the brush, and right at the bottom, you're going to do the red dot. And it expands out. Because at the bottom is where the flower is gonna be the most red. Okay. Now it's time to do the buds. Okay, the buds are pretty simple to do. You basically want to just do a dab of the pink on top of where you drew the little dot, and you're going to make sure that you do not use too much water. So use a fairly dry bit of the pink. What I mean by that is you're going to dip your brush in the pink and then wipe it off on the side. And then you're going to dab. Okay, so you could dab like this. You could do like 2 curved lines and it makes like the perfect little bud. Okay? After you're done with that, go ahead and again, just dip that in the red, the tip of the paintbrush in the red, and at the very bottom, make that nice little red dot. You're gonna do that for all of the buds. So we're gonna do the buds right now. We are officially done with our flowers. What we can do next is we're going to actually paint the branches. The branches are going to be painted in black, but you want them to be an opaque black. So again, you don't want to be able to see through them. And what you can do for that is you can put a good amount of water on your paintbrush, and then you go ahead and put water into the black palette and go ahead and make it nice and wet so you can work with it. And so basically with the, again, using like the tip of your paintbrush, you're gonna go ahead and paint a pretty, starting somewhat thick, using basically the width of your paintbrush to start. You're going to paint a wiggly line, and then as you get closer, you're going to start using the tip of your paintbrush. So if you didn't notice, I started pushing down with the entirety of my paintbrush, and then I lifted it up to the tip of my paintbrush as I moved out and I came towards the flowers. So now I'm using the tip of my paintbrush. So I'm going to reapply some paint, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint all of these branches. Just a tip, try not to get any of the black paint onto your freshly painted flowers, because it will bleed into the flowers and make a black splotch. So just try your hardest not to get that into your flowers. Okay, so there you have it. That is your cherry blossom branch, perfect for the season. If you want to add a little extra detail, if we have time, one thing that we can do is we can take wash out your brush really nice and well in your water. Go ahead and dry it on your paper towel if you have one. Then add a little bit more water and take some of that red. Take a good amount of red. Good amount of red, and put that down on your palette somewhere new. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit more red. So I got a good amount of red somewhere new. I'm going to now take a little bit of black, just a tiny bit of black. I do mean a tiny bit, like the tip of my paintbrush worth. Like, see, that much black. That much black. And I'm going to mix them together. Okay. I'm going to use this to add like the pollen to the inside of the open flowers. So using the very tip of your brush, of course you can always wipe off a little excess. Using the very tip of your brush, go ahead and dab. Okay. So now I think we're finished. I hope you had an awesome time. And I know I did. I hope you like your cherry blossom branch. And thank you so much for coming. I hope to do this again. Thanks guys, love you. Talk soon. Bye.